live in the area, you know where Teddington Weir is. But what we have here, mind you, is a bit more. So this line will go here, top half of the picture, you can't see the laser, is Ham, and the bottom half is Teddington. You have the long cut here at the top left, and you have the footbridge crossing the river to Gyra in the middle. The way it extends out and then zigzag across here before coming to this large white bridge type structure that you see if you look from the footbridge. So it's actually large roller smooth state before you come to the final section of the weir, which comes up to the Teddington bank and the land bridge above. It is this section here of the weir that we are looking at altering to install the screw. Which I was talking about if you're looking from the footbridge. Although we have this wonderful montage over here on this. You can have a look at later, you can see clearly where it is. It was actually put together by an undergraduate student at Teddington College, and he's done that for us. You can see this is extremely local. This was during this draw-off period on the lower floor year we went out there and took photos. This is the bottom picture here, is looking at it from the lens bridge side, so it's looking into the bank. A lot of people weren't seeing that angle of the way before. Environmental assessment. Obviously, we come out of an environmental group very concerned about the impact on the environment, the impact on all aspects of it. So we've undertaken a large amount of surveys and studies, and we're ongoing with this continue. There's more things we want to do. We're open to suggestions from anyone, and in all of our meetings, public meetings, we've had so many of them in the public, we're always taking ideas from people on the net. We have recently been at all of the fairs, the Richmond Fair, Twickenham Fair, I was out coming into the Cannes Fair. We've met hundreds of people talking to me, giving everyone the opportunity. We've spoken to virtually every community group and area and asked everyone to come and talk to us. We've been undertaking subject assessment. This is all being completed, but we'll be feeding all of this information into the Environment Agency, which has a statutory body, is involved in the licenses, so this is all part of the procedure to do that. Fish path design. We've been through several fish path designs over time, asking everybody to input to it, including, importantly, the Environment Agency. And it is a fish path panel to ultimately decide on what fish path is agreed, and we'll be following up with them to decide on which one to use. We have largely decided, though, so far, on a scheme similar to what's on there, but as I said, it is in discussion with the Environment Agency. Licenses, is that all schemes in the UK cannot operate without a license issued by the Environment Agency. Now, we have significant application to the Environment Agency, but this is an interactive process. We need to make sure that we meet all of their requirements. And this does cover flood risk, fisheries, environmental. It's a very broad scope. You can't simply decide to stop running the hydropower scheme. Now, I mentioned fish passes. I just want to touch on this a little bit. Currently, there are two old fish passes which provide upstream migration. Anyone who has been around Loch has seen that they do tend to block. They're very old, size, quite small. Now, we have a plan division of a much larger self-grading Slovenian pass, which has been recommended by the Environment Agency and provides far more significant migration possibilities upstream, both to a broader range of species of fish and also to a greater number. The Archimedes screws have been chosen. This isn't specifically about passage, but because of their minimal impact on downstream migration of fish. A lot of the technology which exists and has been used in previous hydropower projects does cause damage to the fish, the likes of Kaplan turbines, for example. There's horrible pictures you can find with fish and eels and things passing through them and getting mixed up. It's an old technology. It is suitable for some circumstances. There's certainly places in the UK where it may be suitable. A big river like ours is not the appropriate type of technology. The Environment Agency has acknowledged this, and they are promoting the use of Archimedes screws who are going to do hydropower. We've got a lot of studies done on Archimedes screws to demonstrate whether the fish can pass through safely, and there are more that are currently on the web. So far, they've all been showing that it's minimal number of fish that ever get hit, and if they do minimal damage, we have the same. All of this information is available and we have to discuss it. Coming to the investment project, big project. It's going to cost a lot of money. Well, I say a lot of money, it is of course all relative, but it's approximately 2.6 million pounds, including VAT and that figure there. Now, I don't have £6.6 million in my pocket, so where are we going to get it from? And what will we be doing with it? So we need to have this money together to start building our projects by next year, and then revenue will be generated from when it is up and running, onwards to the feed-in tariff, and from electricity source to grid. I didn't touch on this earlier, but to give you a really nice picture, 11.5p plus 40 per kilowatt hour is a very simple way of looking at it. It is just a projection, because of course we haven't signed an agreement with anyone to sell the electricity, so the 4p is just a ballpark figure, but we have been undertaking extensive negotiation with people to buy it, so we have indicative figures, and the 11.5p is fixed because it's coming from the government feed-in tariff. And that's around £290,000 per year, plus VAT, and will be adjusted with inflation. So you can work out roughly how much we can take out, how much we can put back into the community, or the exact amount, of course, of bill negotiation. So far we've got where we are by receiving money from the low carbon Australian authority, which is by the low carbon zone. Right now we are in the hammerfield of the low carbon zone. This is something that the council has been involved in, and very key to this area. It is talking about some of the things I mentioned earlier about making changes to your home, to your schools, to the general ways you live, and putting in involved energy-saving measures and ways of looking at the doing, so like smart meters, we're talking about things that draft protection, we're talking about insulation, all of these things that can help reduce your energy wastage, make your home more energy efficient, and just generally make a positive impact on the area. It did help us because that money was what we were able to use to undertake the various studies that we've done. There's many percent that we've had to take out so far. Now, we are also applying for various grants and funds. As a community project, the more money that we get that we don't have to pay back, the better, because of course that ends up as being money basically going into the community. The biggest fund that we're applying for at the moment is an energy share. This is set up jointly with British Government, Friends of the Earth, some other bodies, and that's where the money comes from, but it is a funding to community groups. We've applied for this, and the way that the first stage of that funding works is the more supporters you get, they take the groups which have received the most support, and then they apply a actual merit criteria to determine who wins. So the first stage has about 700 people who applied. The last time I checked a few days ago, we were 6. I think still at 6 places, so we're doing quite well. We are considering, or we will be doing, share issues. CIC, community interest company cannot issue shares, so we will convert or set up an ICS. This is an industrial profit society. The key thing is it retains all of the things I talked about before, with regulators, asset law, community focus, but it allows the issuing of shares. And the rest of the money will come from a loan, which will have to be paid back over a period of time. The construction timeline is something I have to say is very much that it's been negotiation as we move forward, both by negotiations with landowners and also just looking at the various things as we approach them, both with EEA, with license applications, with planning permissions, with supplier agreements, etc. Just giving a bigger idea towards people in the community. We're looking at doing work in 2012. We are here talking about doing it early in 2012 and working through the year. But, as I said, this is just indicative. The main thing that we're talking about doing it is in 2012. Community funds. Well, by now you all know that we plan to put money in the community, but how are we going to do that? Well, we're open to ideas. We have an idea. Our main idea is that we set up an independent fund where all the profits feed into. That fund then has, much like any grant system, an opportunity for people to apply to it either, every 6 months or every year, to say we have one project we'd like to do, it has community benefits, it's sustainable, it's something about the environment, and they go to say we'd like to access £10,000 to do a feasibility study or to build something or to buy some equipment. Well, then you have people who can decide on a board whether that scheme deserves it. We'll look at those people being someone perhaps from the council, perhaps community groups on either side of the river, people from an environment network like us or from an environment network. We'll see. But that's the idea. We started off with the interest, we signed the specific agreement, going to consultation, signing application, financing coming in construction. Very straightforward. Now, following truck. ESG charities. They help community groups overcome hurdles to get underway. When you start out, you don't have any money, and you're new, even if you are like us, and I have to say this, being in Richmond, we have had access to resources that very few community groups around the country have, and I have met with many community groups as I travel around the country to talk to them about schemes that they're doing and try and help them, provide them with advice. We were able to look in our own borough and find a lawyer who specialises in renewable energy. We were able to look around our borough and find someone who wants to volunteer, who understands about hydropower schemes. We were able to find someone who's an environmental specialist. We could draw on all these people who want to volunteer, because we're very lucky to live in an area that has so many people. But probably was helped us get even further, because what we didn't have was money. So we need legal support on a big scale to deal with big companies. So probably was to help us gain full pro bono work access to an entire project from Norton Road, which is a massive legal firm up in the city, and they normally charge very large sums of money. They're doing all of our legal work for us. They're also apparently talking to us about accountancy firms and environmental assistance, and just generally putting us in touch with other projects like ours so that we can share experience, community projects I should say, so we can share experience and help us all progress further. And I have to say, we probably would still be here without them, but we wouldn't be here today. It would take a lot longer. They really help us get here, and projects which are not in a borough like Richmond probably wouldn't get here at all without them. It's very, very helpful. A little bit of information about how you can get in touch with us. You can get in touch with us for all games and options. We are on the internet, we have a website. If you've looked it up until now, it's been linked to the Ham United group website. We have a whole new website that's been set up. The games that we're in this area, we found 90 guys who found it free. It will be launched within the next few days. But the website will remain the same, hamunited.org. We have a Facebook page which is updated regularly, giving information about what we're doing. We're on Twitter, and although it's not on this slide, it is all the way around. If you email some info or admin, whichever you like, at hamunited.org, that will come through and we'll be able to respond. Now, we are going to do questions. Chad, what is the format? How do you want to